Welcome back. Well, comic book and pop culture fans have been looking forward to this weekend for several months now as the Big Lig Comic-Con returns to the Berglund Center. In addition to costume contests and, of course, those vendors, the Comic-Con gives fans a chance to meet some of their favorite celebrities. And, of course, there's always something for the wrestling fans. Joining us this afternoon is WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter. Oh my goodness.
As you were.
All right, thank you.
At ease.
And of course, we have comic book writer and Big Lig Comic-Con creator, JD Sutphin, back again. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
So we were talking a little off the break before we came back on air. Sergeant, for you, what is it like to see old and new fans, being drawn to the wrestling world?
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. Professional wrestling is on fire, and it keeps me young. I go to these Comic-Cons and just about every weekend, and you see the little children, boys and girls that can hardly see over the table, but they know who you are. Hi, Sergeant Slaughter. Hi. And there's only one way for them to know who I am, and that's through their parents or their aunts and uncles or their grandparents that let them watch wrestling. Or when I was in my prime, and of course G.I. Joe, we're still in our prime with G.I. Joe. That never ends.
Well, speaking about your prime, you were actually here in Roanoke at the Berglund Center. What was that like for you, just wrestling there?
Right. There are certain arenas that you love going back to because the fans understand what we're doing, and they came there to be entertained. And so when you can entertain the people that want to be entertained, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, how you walk down that aisle, and whether you're the villain or you're the hero, and you put that show on for them, and they go home and say, that was the best show, we're going back to the next one. It just puts a smile on your heart when you see that. And
I think, JD, that's exactly what this Comic-Con is all about, is just putting smiles on people's faces.
Oh, yeah.
What else can people expect?
Yeah, just exactly that. I mean, I think back to the times that I saw this man at the time then the Roanoke Civic Center, and popcorn spilling around,
wow.
And people are shouting, they're having fun. That's the same energy that's at our Comic-Con. It is not, it's not a quiet event.
Yeah.
This thing is electrifying, and it's engaging, and it's inspiring. I can tell you right now, there will be a child that will go into that place this weekend, and they'll be the next Sergeant Slaughter, the next Larry Hama, the next Fabian Nicieza, the next voice actor.
Yes.
Because they have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
George Lucas had to watch something to get inspired to make Star Wars happen.
Exactly.
They were all a kid at some point. There's comic books that come into my shop, that old ones that have trace marks around them. And what I love about that is some kid traced that book, and now they're an artist on the new comic book wall. It has to start somewhere, and it can start this weekend at Big Lig Comic-Con.
Absolutely. It's such a good point. And, the fact that not only are the older people, or I like to call them young at heart, but it's these little kids, that are really inspiring. Like, what is it like for you to know that you might be meeting the next you?
Right. Well, I was about 3 years old when I watched my first wrestling match on my father's knee.
Awesome.
And he was a huge wrestling fan, so I became a wrestling fan. And of course, my mother was a wrestling fan, and my sister. So on Saturday nights, during the day, we would go to the store with my mother. She would say, pick out your favorite TV dinner or pot pie, and that's what we're going to have. And we'd have our TV trays, and when 6:30 came on in our home on Saturday nights, that's what we watched for an hour and a half.
That is so cool. Well,
and if there was a match that was going to be at the Minneapolis Auditorium that night, and it riled my father up enough, he'd say, grab your coats, we're going to the auditorium.
That's so cool. That is so great. And you guys can actually have a chance just to meet Sergeant here or any of the other wonderful celebrities that are going to be at the Comic-Con. Now, it's going to be this weekend. What hours are they again?
So 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. 11 a.m. is the general admission. You get in early on Saturday if you buy those weekend passes.
And to buy those, all you can do is either go online or you can go to the box office, correct?
You have the Berglund Center box office or bigligcomiccon.com. Kids 12 and under are free with a paying adult.